Right, thanks for joining in tonight's class. It's Tuesday, the 21st of June, 2022, and the class is on developing joy through contemplating kindness, our own acts of kindness or others' acts of kindness, or both. It's very easy to get downbeat by news. The news is, as we all know, the news is usually quite negative. It brings us down, and there are so many kind things that are going on in the world, so many kind acts. Now, straight away, I just want to say that it's very easy to think, well, that's not, X is not kind because they're getting paid to do it anyway. Say a maid in a hotel room, they're getting paid anyway, or whoever, whatever job, getting paid anyway. However, if we flip it, if somebody's unkind to us, we don't care whether they're getting paid to be unkind to us or not. Imagine somebody's being paid to be unkind to you, or unpaid, paid or unpaid. You just think, well, they're unkind. That's not nice. And so we can flip it in the other way. If somebody's being kind, great. If they're getting paid to do the job, doesn't matter. They're being kind. Take it for what it is. So the reason that's useful is because it massively opens up what we can see as beautiful acts of kindness around the world. So if I pay someone to hit you on the head for a £5, or if somebody just does it for free, you didn't give a monkeys whether it cost me a £5 to have somebody smack you on the head. All you can think is that's not kind. So we flip it around. Any act of kindness is kind, irrespective if there's a payment involved. And our jobs generally are there to help others. Whether our services were helping others, we wouldn't want to do a job that was a hindrance to others. We wouldn't find ourselves in that job for very long. So we're readdressing the balance from what we get fired at us from social media and from the news of negative stories and unkindness and all those sorts of things, bad feeling. And joy naturally arises when we mix our mind with contemplating kindness. Now, if somebody does a random act of kindness, it opens our heart. We think, oh, that's beautiful. There was no need for them to do that, and they did. In fact, just before I came on to do this on YouTube, I watched an orangutan give a dog some of its food. Just gave it. The dog was at the side. The man gave the orangutan, I think it was an orangutan, some food. It ate some and it passed some to the dog. Shared it with the dog. Incredible. When we meditate, the idea is to try and open our heart. Our heart is a bit like a muscle that's fearful. Generally, our heart is a bit fearful. And gradually with meditation, the meditations are designed to relax it, a bit like a clenched fist. So gradually the meditation, as we contemplate and focus on what we're feeling, they're designed to open our heart, make it feel more expansive rather than tighter. And there's no vulnerability to this really, because no one knows we're doing it, and yet it does feel vulnerable. It's part of it. We feel a little bit more vulnerable when our heart's open, but it's a private practice. No one needs to know that our mood's changed or anything like that. So we're not really making ourselves more vulnerable. And that's a good practice in itself, because feeling vulnerable is maybe a big step for some of us to allow ourselves to feel vulnerable. And that's vulnerability lets the love in. So when we do these meditations, it feels both ways. It feels like we are opening our heart to others, and it starts to allow us to feel that we can let some love in as well. Okay, so we're going to do a body relaxation and a breathing meditation to start with. And then we'll do the second meditation on joy from considering kind acts. So I'll just pause it for the first part and then we'll continue. Okay, so please bring to mind kind acts, contemplate kind acts that have moved you. The purpose of it is to start to get a feeling of joy from the kindness. And when those thoughts have served their purpose, i.e. some of the kindness, joy has arisen, they've done their job. Then we just focus on the feeling of joy, like we might the breath in the nostrils. And if it fades, sometimes we can just recall it. If our mind wanders away, we come back to it. And if it fades too much and won't recall, then we just go back to the contemplation. And it's okay to keep going back to the same instance of kindness that brings you joy if it works. That's all it's there for, is for it to invoke the feeling. So please enjoy contemplating kind acts that you've come across. Maybe from a teacher you've had, or some random act of kindness, or something you've seen in the media, or a family member or a friend. Something that's really touched you. Maybe something that nobody else really noticed, but it really moved you. And then allow that to open your heart. So really enjoy contemplating kind acts, and yourself full permission for your heart to open and rejoice, to feel joy, to rejoice in their kindness. Might be some kind act you've done. That's not selfish, it's just another way into feeling joy. In fact, it encourages us to do more kind acts, so it's great. And don't be afraid to focus on the feeling of joy, even if it's a small amount. You don't have to stoke it too much. So if there's a bit of resistance, that's okay. It's like stretching a muscle. Sometimes it takes a few stretches for it to get going. Doesn't mean we stop, we just keep doing it. Trust that process. Relax our heart, open it a little, or open it a lot. So if the feeling fades, we can recall it. We'll go back to the instance that we used to contemplate and develop rejoicing, joy. We'll do it for another minute or so. Okay, so before we come out of meditation, we can dedicate the joy we've created, however large or small amount, doesn't matter. We can dedicate this to our own joy in the future and the joy of others. And remember that we cannot take our thoughts seriously in a good way between meditation sessions. Remember that we're not our thoughts, and if it's just a random thought in our head, we can just drop it, just not take it seriously. Okay, so just relax your concentration now and allow your eyes to open.